You are now rocking with the 3-yard play.
Right.
We just figured out a 3-yard play, fam. We're gonna win every time.
Yeah.
Hit that link with you. Come on in.
You're tuned into the 3-Yard Play podcast. Well, the only question is, does it work for you?
Trail got wings, bitch.
We've been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year. We been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year. We live in weight just to hold up the trophy. Flag on the plate, cause them haters can't hold me. And 1, 2-a-days and run up the biggest hill just to sharpen up my skills. They hit the scoreboard first, I had to hit them drills. Time I get around the corner, they gon' see my new wheels. After practice, till the lights come on, till they bust ride out and they gone. That rally had us help, my teammate down the steps. Player, we got plays you ain't even seen yet. I post up and fade away like graffiti. Just don't claim it's love when you see us on TV. We been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year.
3-Yard Play podcast.
We been working
brought to you by reality.
all year.
Where it is, what it is.
Game time.
You get what you get.
We all here.
So comment and let us know where you live.
Yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year.
New Black Magic Jr. album, Riot's Work, coming soon. Featuring bangers like How Deep, Cursed, the Poland Remix, Rolling, and many more. Also be sure to check out the album, FN Mac, Sleep Well, and Breaking Cases of Mercy.
Engineered alien technology that took the skull and bones silver first for all of y'all to see. Black magic in the flash, hacking through the algorithm, killing shit the best.
New Black
95
Magic
Bulls
Jr.
running full court press. Jordan back after getting shit off his chest.
Cause the truth is the hardest shit.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 3-Yard Play with my man T-Maz, T-Maz, T-Mac, all three. You know what I mean? Trip, what's happening? What's happening?
Man, out the
What's
way,
all up,
family.
bro?
Out the way.
Chilling, man, bro.
You know, on a serious note, man, I kind of just, I have kids, and so I saw, the shooting in Nashville. And I just wanted to bring that up today, man, because I don't know, we've already seemed like we've already tried to move past that incident already in our minds because it happens so often. So, I think we need to start thinking a little bit different and quit asking and praying. But I'm going to let y'all start it off. What do y'all think about that situation right there, bro?
Man, I'd say, first and foremost, condolences and, RIP to everyone who lost their life and or was injured or their families or friends were affected by the situation. I think it's terrible. America has a gun problem. We definitely have a gun problem. I'm a gun owner. I'm not nobody saying, oh, just ban all the guns. But when you look at every other country in the world, no one is having this issue with just mass public shootings. How we do it. All these places got violence, but this is kind of what bombings are for other places. You got a lot of other international cities where they just have random bombings, and we don't have bombings in America like talking about. Bombs are real rare, but the shootings just seem to pop off all the time. Over just anything. So it's just terrible, really. In terms of what can be done, I don't know. It's to the point. At this point, we need a police officer in every school. They need that. They're gonna have to start having police in every school just to watch out for stuff like this down there.
True. What about you, Tom?
Man, I agree. First of all, I agree with you, Trip. I guess when you end with more police in the school, I don't think that's gonna change much at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Just somebody else to get shot. You know what I mean? Just maybe the shooter would get shot faster. You know what I mean? Type deal. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it can still happen. You know. From the perspective of the access to the gun. You know what I mean? It just I know what it is. I keep seeing it as a way of people trying to cope with their own mental health through killing others. You know what I mean? And then that's it. You know what I mean? That's just that coping with hurting others. You know what I mean? That's so that mental health piece is what sticks out the most to me. And then I'm thinking about how we talk about gun laws, how easy it was for him. Excuse me. Make sure I addressed the identity. Say he's a transgender male, and I want to come back on that. Won't come back on that in a second. But the coping and not dealing with your own issues and just taking it out on others. But I brought up transgender, and then because I was reading a report in the New York Times, does that even matter in this situation? You know what I mean? That the person is transgender.
It's kind of interesting if you think about it, because most of these acts of mass shooting are carried out by white males. So it's kind of eerie in a sense that she was first a female who eventually, transgendered and into the idea of the concept that they identified as a white male, and then committed the crime of a mass shooting. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that became a sort or a reaction after this self-identification kind of became known or became a part of their life. So I think both of you two kind of address both sides of the argument in a sense, where you got, Trip, like you say, you're a gun owner and you believe in those Second Amendment rights. And then, Thomas, you talked about, mental health issues. But I wonder if it's really even that, like at this point of losing this many lives, I don't even think those two issues really get down to what's really going on in America. And my question then becomes, why are we obsessed with not guns to protect, but guns to assault? Because I believe in definitions have a weapon that says assault. There's no such thing as defense and assault.
Yeah, don't even talk about hunting. Like, you're not going to assault no bear. You're not going to assault no deer.
Right. So when we say assault, that means we're on the offensive. We're offense. There's no such thing as defense at that moment.
Right.
I'm gonna grab my phone charger right quick. My charger right quick. The computer about to cut out. But I'm listening to. I can hear you guys. I'm just saying. I'm step out for 1 second.
Right. So I just wonder, like I say, man, is this really what it boils down to? Like at the end of the day, I don't get assault being part of defense. If someone entered to protect yourself, I agree with that. But and I get where I go. I know where people are going to go with this is, well, the bad guys have access to some of the high-powered ammunition or weapons. Well, then, okay, so then if you go that route, then how can you catch the bad guy? Because there's no distinction between you or the bad guy, which are the good guys or whatever, right? Because everybody has the same weapon. It becomes a little bit easier to confiscate or identify the bad guy if the bad guy is the only one who's got the stuff that you're not supposed to have, right? So, and then let's be honest, if the bad guy has an assault rifle. You having an assault rifle doesn't do anything. I used to bounce in the club, right? So let me tell you something. There's no such thing as this wild, wild west theory that you're gonna pull out at the same time the killer and the mass shooter is gonna pull out, and y'all are just gonna have this movie type, flinging of bullets. No, you're gonna run, you're gonna duck, even if you are trained on average. I've seen the best of trained individuals, people who had all type of weaponry, not be able to react because of what was coming at them. So this idea that, because you have something that they got, you're going to be better prepared. That's kind of, you're a law-abiding citizen, so you don't wake up every day to kill.
Yeah.
The person who's doing the killing is doing that. So
Right.
you're already 3 or 4 steps behind.
What Thomas said, what you think about kind of the idea Thomas was alluding to, though, of hurt people, because in terms of that mental health piece, that's what I'm thinking. It's got to be something really wrong with you to where you want to act out to this degree. Like, what is it that make you feel like? Because when you look at the victims in this most recent situation, it was just a random hodgepodge. It was like 2, 3 children, maybe 2, 3 workers, like 1 black male, maybe 2 white adults and 1 black male. It was like none of it made any sense. As to you couldn't have possibly had beef with really all of these 6 people who you hit. So it just like you was just mad and you just wanted to bring pain, or you just wanted to just hurt folks, and or maybe you was ready to check out, and instead of just checking out, you decided, hey, I'm gonna do all this. I'm going to blaze of glory. But it's kind of like I saw a press conference recently on the news where the police were speaking up, and the police just expressed to the people, and this was in the city of Atlanta, like, man, y'all to some degree got to be able to just control your emotions. We're not gonna be able to be there every time something stupid pops off. Like, as much as we want to try to combat gun violence and violence in the city, we're not going to be able to be here whenever somebody gets upset and just wants to do something crazy. And that seems like what's going on with these mass shootings is like people, I don't know how long they obsessing or going or whatever, but over time they get further and further removed, and ain't nobody keeping tabs on that. And then at one point, these people just wild out and just do shit. Because every time it happens, you see people come up later and be like, oh yeah, I talked to them and I knew they were unhappy, or I knew they greatly had this going and that. But I think nobody takes it to the level. I thought this fool was finna just go into public and start shooting folks,
Right. Yeah. So with that being said, I did see in the report that they said there was this dude from Nashville named Clay Travis or what have you. He tweeted out. It says, "Hey, this was a terror attack on religious people by a deranged lunatic trans person." And so I look at that to say, how do you all think this the tie to religion and trans, it'll be a new way of not necessarily to reframe or switch the narrative and put it on transsexuals or transgender people versus dealing with gun laws themselves?
I'm not going to negate that some of this has to do with a mental scenario or situation with that individual. But it's like, okay, mental health is a very hard thing to monitor because it's one of those things that can happen suddenly. It's not always a buildup of you seeing it. And then even if there are buildups, we're seeing that even with the parents, I think the parents had warned all the proper authorities that their daughter or son should not be able to purchase any weapon. In fact, they sent him in to turn in the weapon that he had initially. And instead of turning the weapon in, I guess he doubled down and bought more weapons. So, and because he's not on the radar yet,
and they can't prohibit him from having them.
You can't stop him. So it's ridiculous to
Right,
think
'cause
that
it
you're
is-
going to find the needle in the haystack, so to speak, because they
On the
haven't
front
done
end.
anything yet, and
Yeah.
they have their alienable rights, so they can do whatever, and then it's always reactionary. So I feel like you can prevent that by, it's like, for instance, if a person is a crackhead and they're on a program to get off of the crack, what is the one thing that they try to teach those people? Don't go back to the environment. They take that and they try to take them out of that environment, so there's not a temptation for that drug, right? So guns are a drug for America. Take that away from people so that you can, when those moments come where there's mental health issues, you're not reacting afterwards. You're being proactive. And I'm not saying take away all the guns. I'm saying take away the ones that promote the most destruction in the short amount of time. If he had, let's just say he had a 9mm or a semi-automatic, whatever, 9mm, he may have shot one and somebody was able to get to him. Then this scenario of if someone else had a gun, they could have stopped him. I can believe that then. But I can't believe you're going to stop anybody shooting 100 rounds per second. You're going to be a casualty as well, or wait until the bullets run out. And that's not effective. You know what I'm saying? That's not effective in any form of fashion. So let's limit what they can touch when they do have these episodes. It's not a only mental health and only gun. Right. It's got to be both of them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with that in theory, but to me, the problem you run into with that is shit. The same way the police can't run down on people's homes right now. Same way the government can't get the weapons back, because there's so many guns in circulation already that it's like, even if you say now we finna ban such and such, bro, it's how many millions such and such is already out here. If you say we ban high capacity magazines, they are already in abundance. If you say you ban this caliber ammo or something that shoot this big, it's already out here. Something shoot this fast, it's already out here. So I'm a strong believer, especially practicing criminal defense, the bad actors are going to get their hands on whatever they want to get their hands on.
Right.
Unfortunately,
bad actors are ahead of
you. What'd you say?
I get that, but the bad actors are already ahead of you because you're a good actor. So you're not win. It's just not win. It's not a good recipe. It doesn't work that way in the sense that people think.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you think if they change the laws now moving forward, it will curtail, and then we'll have less of these in circulation. Because I still wonder, shit.
I'm not saying less in circulation. You'll have a better chance. Okay, so it's like this. You have a better chance of deciphering who's who when you get to that point. But now,
something I will say is kind of crazy to think about, but a lot of these mass shooting folks actually go to the gun stores and get their guns.
Right.
This weird shit. A lot of these mass shooting folks ain't really no street or trap folks that's like, oh, I just bought a gun in the cut. A lot of them is ordering off the internet, right, and actually going into stores and purchasing guns outright in their name, and then going to do whatever. They ain't necessarily buying back alley guns or guns that could be dirty and shit.
And that's my point. That's my point, because then you have a way to track those bad actors, because the ones that are doing these acts, they're not the so-called street cats that's buying it illegal. They are the legal people who have the ability to walk into a store and buy it legally. There's no governor on this. And so my deal is, it's just not a recipe that's going to keep working. It's almost like defeatism, just saying, well, because there's just a whole bunch of them out there, we might as well just keep letting them do.
Yeah.
It got to stop at some point. It's like, man, you're not winning. This recipe that we have is not working. It's actually getting worse. So I would go for it if it was working, but it ain't working.
No, it ain't working.
What you got, Tom?
What's up? Yeah, P-Miles sitting back. He got where you at with it, man?
Man, it's just a layer. I'm not gonna even say, like you said, I don't have a defeatist attitude on it. It's just one of those things where it's not a top priority concern right now. You know what I mean? Because I think the other ways to fight it is outside this conversation, but it's really go back to, I guess they say when we put more money, it was kind of like, dang man, I ain't want to do it right now because it's so late in the thing, because like it draw that thing with the Cop City, it draws some parallels with that in terms of how we move forward through programming and through a lot of different things to address, I guess what you'll say, somebody reaching the capacity. You know what I mean? And then they start reacting with violence. You know what I mean? Before you start resorting to violence, how you get there? You gotta. How do you change the situation? You talked about environments, talk about changing the homes and all this. It's so layered, bro. That's why I said it's a bad time to ask me. But
final thoughts. He like, bro, I can't bring this on the finals. This could be a real conversation.
Right, but at the end of the day, man, it's a sad situation that needs to be addressed. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. And so, as somebody who's also in charge of having to make sure children are protected in environments like that, and being trained on it, man, it's tough. It's tough to say how things should go when you haven't been going through it. You know what I mean? So I just say more training to the teachers and students, and how to just lock down, you know what I mean? And you just pray, bro.
I think
you don't see it coming.
I don't want to keep praying with these folks. I know that. Now, this is the deal.
And we on time, bro. Time running out. We pushing 20 minutes here, so I'm gonna throw the flag. Let's make it.
All right, throw the flag. Final thoughts. This is it. So I don't want to keep praying with them, but I know this. It's another thing. That's a whole nother conversation. But the real issue with guns in America has nothing to do with actual babies dying. It has everything to do with certain people feeling like they must defend their positions for the future. And we can get into that later, but the deal is that's really what it got to do with. It has nothing to do with protecting, because you could easily put sign or metal protectors at the door that are not visible, right?
You need to just go on the road this conversation to the back stage.
I ain't gonna get there. I'm gonna let it go, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Nah, I feel you. I feel like in closing, I want to amend what I said in the beginning. When I was saying in the beginning, we got to have police in every school. To be quite honest, I still think have an officer in the schools, but shit, we need a psychiatrist in every school. To be quite honest, man, they need to be more, more mental health, more attention paid to mental health just in the classroom, just on the ground level, because at some point, all these people who are doing these acts fall through the cracks. And it ain't no one to blame. It's not no one particular fault, but all of them, when you look back, they had some kind of issue or something that at some point they start drifting off and got real intense about something. And it's like, maybe we need to do better at just paying attention to each other and making sure that we concerned and we checking in. Everybody's not going to always be happy, but let's at least touch base and communicate and have it a forum where people don't feel like they have no other option but to go air the place out. So, maybe more mental health.
I want to hear that same conversation when they go down in Chicago too.
What you mean?
That same mental health idea.
Oh yeah. No, I feel what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times what happens in black neighborhoods, you don't get that.
Right. Yeah. Well, people, thanks again for tuning in to the 3 Yard Play.
Timo, you got anything before we go, or was that your?
That was it.
You good?
That was it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Y'all keep liking, subscribing, and tuning in with us. Hey, you got anything to say? Give us some suggestions, man. We open.
Yeah,
and again,
man.
We all play, baby.
Does it work for you? Peace.
Appreciate y'all.
El Bravo debut album. You start with the reference to God. All streaming platforms featuring hits like Young Jit, Stowaway, My Book of Life, and many more. Follow El Bravo at Lab Tech Music Group. It's time. Someone blew away like a stowaway. Baby, you out. Release me. just like
in
a
stores
new
now.
yeah. Your homeland's far away. Take my hand and let me lead though. I feel like they wanna tell me, baby, you ready me? Take a shot at the back of my hand and leave me for dead.
El Bravo, release in stores now.
You see, the thing that separates us from every other group of slaves is the fact that
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in today and every day. And remember to keep running your 3-yard play.
Look at them mouths, we feel like flowers, they gon' grow. Whoa. We gon' water season, watch that harvest flow. Whoa. I've been crunching up.
Cause we know heroes are made in the off season.
There should be no reason
And
that
grinding
the baby
slow is
never
better than
hung.
crashing
When
out
we
for
get that
dough.
money bound for it, we don't want it.
Let's say, young brothers, remember,
Don't fulfill the promise.
just keep 3 yards every day. They can never
I can't
stop.
read that narrative, so ain't no need of calling us. You ain't never had to tell your kid being black was a sin, cause his skin was reflected through America. Taking care of us was just a handout, right? But it was fair when free labor was just as nice. I can bet you your life, your kids living alright. Cause me and
You
mine had to
have
do
been rocking
it or
with the
die every
3-Yard
single
Play
night.
podcast.
I get mine, yeah. You get yours, yeah. But together, nigga, we gon' get some more, yeah. Look at them mouths, we feel like flowers,
So
they
like,
gon' grow.
subscribe,
We
share,
gon' water
and
season,
let's
watch that
discuss.
harvest flow. Whoa. I've been
What's up with
crunching
us?
numbers, winter, fall, spring, and summer. There should be no
Thank
reason
you.
that the baby
Tuning in
never
to
hung.